We talk a lot about community. Why don't you tell us about the 1858 name?
You look at our bios, you're like, man, these guys are pretty smart guys, right? We could not come up with a name.
Give us some good ones.
No, here. No, I'll give you.
I've had a lot of people comment. It's a very cool name.
It is a cool name.
It is a very cool name, yeah.
All the like literature you guys have,
Right.
the decks are slick. I love it.
Yeah.
It really came from, what do we want? What do we want to signal? We want to signal, kind of prestige. We want to signal power. We want to signal kind of excellence. We want to signal also, though, some type of stealthiness. We want to signal, right, some type of like hidden aspect of it.
What was the timeline and what made you say, this is it? Because 99% of people could have that same thought, but they don't act on it.
First of all, I did some case studies with my friends, some user groups. I said, would you buy recycled soap from a retail store? And they were like, hell no.
I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of explain to people how you can make money and an impact at the same time.
Yeah, fortunately, it's actually less confusing all the time. And part of the reason we started the fund was to be able to begin to prove to people that these companies could be investable. When they get it right, the synergies of those two businesses actually feed each other. And so the more mission actually drives more profit. And you do not have to necessarily sacrifice the profits of the company to do that.
What are some advice you would give to some guys in our boat, late 20s, early 30s?
I think being a student of the business, he's still a mentor of mine. He's still a guy when I have these kind of things in my head that I can't get out, that I call and say, okay, dude, how do I figure this out? And he never gives me the answer, but he said to me, you understand the business from our side of it. You need to now understand it from your client's side of it.
Look out, sort of raise your head and look out to see men and women who you deeply respect. You respect their integrity. You respect the way they approach problem solving, and don't be shy to ask if they can mentor you.
I think successes don't define you as much as your failures do. In my life, I've had successes, had great life experiences, but man, if you don't look failure in the eye and realize, man, what are you made of? And how does that help you grow, right? You can either win or learn. And I just chose to learn. I was out of a job. I say I've been fired more times than I've been hired.
My wife looked at me, and I think it was February of 21. And she was like, "The hell are you doing?" She's like, "You've always wanted to have your own brand. Go and do something. Like, what happened to that donut project you were working on during COVID?" I'm like, "Yeah, it didn't work. It staled out. Like, it wasn't working." She's like, "Go figure that out."
Gotta get your wife on here too. She's
Seriously.
the boss.
And again, that was a turning point. And from that point forward, every waking minute that I had was working with our food scientists on perfecting our version of this donut.
A couple of weeks ago, I had a couple of people that are in the industry asking me for advice. And one of them, I told them to get out of the business that day. Like, I think you should just shut down right now and go get a job.
I think that's common.
It is. It's unfortunate, but in the restaurant industry, a lot of friends tell you that you have a great recipe to cook and that you should open a restaurant because your food is great. And what you have to realize is not even about the food, it's about the people. It's more a people game than it is about the food.
I like that you said generational wealth.
You learn in life that wealth is most measured not by the zeros in your bank account, but by the caliber of the people in your life.
Right.
There was a research institute years ago that talked about what later got nicknamed as the success sequence. They found that in trying to prove whether the American dream was still alive or not, most children, even growing up in neighborhoods where they were experiencing poverty, if they could just graduate from high school, go to college, land a job, and then start a family, do those things in that order and not get them out of order,
Right.
on average, they would join the middle class. They were in the 90th percentile of doing so. In fact, forget college. They just, graduate, get a job, then start a family. They're in the 75th percentile, something like that.
It's apparent just how important storytelling is. And so I'm curious not to give everything away, but what's the secret sauce with a good story?
I think the secret sauce is authenticity and telling your own story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have so many of my favorite stories of what people say over and over, or what would they learn through the Victory Cup. And our first place winner this year, she was invited to go on to WESH, and I called her and I said, "Good luck, I'll be praying for you. So, are you prepared? Do you know what you're gonna say?" And she's like, "I think I'm gonna talk about," and she started talking about all these things that she wanted to talk about. And I said, "Well, use your Victory Cup story."
And one of the best cornerbacks in the country got tired of my talking. I was talking a lot. He's like, hey, stop picking at all the fat boys. Come out here and get some. I said, oh, you want some pipsqueak? One-on-one, I got one opportunity. What's the route?
Right.
What's the route?
What are you doing?
What's the route that I'm gonna run one-on-one with him? What's the route?
He's going deep on him?
You know it.
You gonna call him out too? You gonna name drop?
It's a fly. We got one route. You know what I'm doing.